That's
That was an
funny.
RC heart attack there. Hi,
Are
folks.
we in
and
the
welcome-
Muppet movie? Was that animal on the drums? Wow.
It's Saturday Morning Samoflangfe. I'm Matt.
Saturday Morning Samoflangfe. I'm Benjamin. Maybe the theme music has calmed down by this point, and you can actually hear us speaking. Woo.
All right, so
All right,
yeah,
so
there's
what a great
lot,
opening to this
There's a lot.
episode.
This is a big. Everyone sees the title of this. There is a lot of sequels that should have never been made.
Yes, there are.
I mean, most of them went straight to DVD.
Correct.
And
But
I'm not-
I mean, that's
but
the
now
rule of Hollywood.
I believe that's punching down, though.
What do you mean?
I mean, Cinderella 2 or any.
Oh, well, sure.
Any. Well, I was going to say any animated sequel to an original Disney movie, except for Aladdin. Those were good.
Yeah, the
Return
Aladdin-
of Jafar
yeah,
and
they're
King
actually
of
pretty
Thieves
good,
were
right?
actually
Yeah.
decent. But that's easy to say that's and it did.
But it probably didn't make any money though.
But I'm going for in mine because I mean, yeah, disappointments. Like the series as a whole was great.
What are you talking about?
3, 4. Oh my goodness, I have 6 on here.
I have 2, but I have an honorable mention is what I was.
Hold on, I
essentially
got to
gonna
make
do.
one an honorable mention. Did I seriously not see this earlier? Okay, you're going to be my honorable mention. Oh, that sucks. I don't want that to be the honorable. It's going to be the honorable mention. Oh.
Do we need to go with the top 6 this week for first time ever in Saturday morning history?
No. I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna fix this.
Well, I think you go ahead and fix that, and I think that there is a written rule in Hollywood, especially if producers and producers a lot of times they don't care about the movies; they just want it to make money, right? They own the movie, they own the studio, they want it to make money. So if a movie eclipses a certain dollar figure at the box office, and the revenue comes in to a certain level, it's automatically kind of greenlit for a sequel, unless there's some sort of like cancel culture drama that happens and somebody does drugs or freaks out on social media or whatever and loses their mind, and then they kind of blow that over under the rug or whatever. But for the most part, for as long as modern movies have been around, once a movie crosses a certain threshold, once it makes a certain amount of money, there's a guaranteed sequel. Now often it is a straight to sequel DVD, great piece of junk.
And there are sequels that are okay, meh,
Sure.
Never would have minded it. And,
But I mean, a lot of these got made not because anybody wanted to do them, but because there was enough money in it.
the money was in it.
Yeah, and so some of them were automatic sequels, is what I'm getting at.
So maybe I should say most disappointing sequels to me because there's a lot of bad.
Well, that's what I'm
sequels.
getting at too. Is that there's a lot of bad sequels out there, but some of them people thought were actually going to be good, and so my list eliminates the automatic sequel. Like I don't have any automatic sequels on mine. I have all movies that I have were hyped as this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah, let's stop there. So crossover.
Oh man,
This is hard because there's a lot of ones.
I don't think I'm gonna go 0.
I will go 1.
Really? Okay.
We'll go 1.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's
Now,
possible. But...
let's go ahead and just ramble off our honorable mentions.
Oh, okay. I can't ramble mine off. Mine's a whole thing.
Oh, you have a lot of honorable
No.
mentions.
I just have a whole story about my honorable mention.
Oh, please. By all means.
Do you know what I talk about whenever I mention the best, worst movie ever made? The best, worst horror movie ever made. It's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie. Best, worst horror movie
And it's
ever
actually
made.
titled that. Like it's tagged that on the internet. If you type in best,
Troll
worst horror...
2.
It's Troll 2. Do you know about the story of Troll 2?
I know, but that can't be the worst, right?
It's my honorable mention.
But it's so bad, it's fun.
Because of what we were talking about, though. And because of the topic, sequels that should never have been made, right? Okay. You've got a funny thought happening. I can
do
see
have
it.
a funny thought. We can't say this out loud.
But
so
I mean,
I'm gonna-
in honor of this topic, I just wanted to bring up the story of Troll 2. If anyone hasn't seen it, if you take the time to Google the best worst movie ever made, and you look up the story of Troll 2, and honestly, if you
I'm sorry, I showed him the answer.
It's right there, up there with it. Yeah. So Matt just wrote down on a piece of paper his funny thought that we can't mention on the air.
We can't mention that one.
And at least not for a while.
Not for a while. Later on.
But
and to be fair, I've never seen the movie.
That's true. That's true.
Just sort of what I've heard.
but if you Google the best worst movie ever made, and honestly, if you just go watch, the best thing about Troll 2 is the riff tracks. So the guys who made
Mystery
Science Theater 3000 have a website called Riff Tracks, RIFFTRAX, I believe. Still killing it. They take movies and they dub over them with some of the best added dialogue.
They get to pick cream of the crop.
They get whatever they want now, exactly. And
it's not like I have to do 22 for a season.
And you honestly, you might have to even pay to watch it, but I'm telling you, if you buy the Riff Tracks to Troll 2, it will probably be better than any movie you see in the movie theater this year. That's my guess. That. And if it isn't, I will send you the money for the ticket.
All right. So, that being said, mine are also horror movies.
Oh, really? Okay.
And these are honorable mentions, but I love one of the scariest movies I've ever seen is The Conjuring.
Scary as heck. Oh, the first one.
The first one's super scary.
Terrifying.
The second one is good. Okay. Not like the first one, but the second one's good.
You go in with a high expectation after the first one, sure.
Yeah. Oh, the first one's just, I mean, it's one of the top scariest movies.
It's creepy AF, yeah.
So good. The second one, good. Good moments in it. Okay.
Sure.
The third one?
Third one?
Is awful. It is like your run-of-the-mill, indie horror movie, and they said, we just need a script for a third movie. Does anyone have any cheesy horror? And it's just terrible.
Wow.
It's terrible.
So to be clear, we're talking about top 5 sequels that should never have been made. Are we talking about sequels like once you've had, let's say you've had 4 successful movies?
You can talk about a legacy movie. Yeah, you can do that. It's a sequel.
Just want to make sure.
And then another one, since we're doing horror movies real quick, Insidious, I just watched with my nephew.
Oh, yeah.
And his friends. We loved the first 2. We thought the next 3 were good, like pretty solid. Not as good as the second one.
Sure.
And then we were so excited because they in 2022, they'd come out with a new one with the original cast, bringing them back, 20 years later. What happened to them?
You figured that would be terrific.
And you're like, oh, wow. And it was
garbage.
Awful. I could not believe it because it's the original cast.
Yeah.
And they should now the little boy is in college. And you're like, whoa, it's the same kid from the movie.
And they've had time to do it and to get it right.
And they've gotten the last few movies that have not had any of the stars in it right.
No.
So they've been very careful to make quality films, and this time they just punted. It was awful. But anyway, all right. So
I'm glad you said that because now I have 2 other honorable mentions because I was creating this list.
You can do direct sequel or any sequel.
This is the reason why I had to ask, and I don't know why you didn't say this, but my brain went to direct sequel. And so I wasn't even thinking about part 3, part 4, part 5. My entire list is about part 2.
That's fine.
The sequel.
That's fine. It's up to anyone's interpretation.
So if we're going with what we just redefined it as kind of thing, I have to add Indiana Jones to the list because part 4 and 5 are an absolute
both of those
mess.
are garbage.
And the trilogy is perfect as it is. The trilogy is perfect. And just leave it be. I love Temple of Doom. We don't have to get started. So
that's the best thing about Crystal Skull and Spear of Destiny.
Yeah.
Or is it called Spear? What's it called?
Who
Dial
cares?
of Destiny.
Who
Dial
cares?
of Destiny.
Right.
It calls Who Cares?
Garbage.
Thanks to those 2 movies, Temple of Doom is a masterpiece now. No one can complain about it.
Yeah. Ki Hai Kwan.
It's
Save
like,
that
thank
movie,
you,
man.
Jurassic World Trilogy. Jurassic Park 3 is excellent.
Ki Hai Kwan won a freaking Oscar this year, last year.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right.
But my only other one is Mad Max Furiosa. Have you seen Furiosa?
Yeah, it had its moments, but yeah, it was
I thought it was garbage.
But how do you follow something as excellent as Fury Road?
But my same argument though, Fury Road, same director, same actors, same cast and crew, like almost all the same people came back. Not the same. Surely Charlize Theron wasn't in it. It's a different cast.
Yeah,
but they had 10 years. They had a full, mega, huge, multi-million-dollar budget. And they had all the time. I was hyped, and it was trash. It was. I could not have been more bored. Yeah, huge disappointment.
All right, so number 5.
Number 5. Who's going first? Me?
Oh, I'll go first. I don't care. So we aren't going to have crossover now because I am doing more of a leg. But here's the thing. To be fair, Toy Story 1 was great when it came out.
It was great.
2 was good.
2 was really good.
3 was
even
one
better.
of the best movies ever
made.
Quentin Tarantino said he never watched my number 5 Toy Story 4 because 3 was so perfect.
3 was so perfect.
He doesn't need another. And
I understand.
That's fair.
I understand.
4 is a big steaming hunk of garbage.
Yeah, I agree.
mean, and I love Toy Story. It hurts
3
my
was a
heart to say
perfect
that.
movie.
3 was, but the thing is though, each one of these movies just elevated.
Yeah.
It elevated.
And
it
so
talked about a kid and his toys,
Yeah.
and the new toy replaced him. Okay, fun, generic. The second one is the toy collector who doesn't play with them. He puts them in shelves, he paints them and keeps them in boxes, but they never get played.
Yep.
Aha, got it. The third one, because whatever, that stinky toy had never been played with, so he didn't know what it was. He didn't know what fun was. So that's great. The third one, when you grow up,
when you grow up,
it's beautiful.
It's the most beautiful send-off.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
No more. No moss. That's it. We're good. They did some TV stuff, which I thought was decent.
Sure, fine.
There were some shorts I thought were good, but no more big
But
motion.
that fourth one was a major rehash of the third one, really, and
it was terrible.
It was not good,
and it was not funny.
Yeah, not
and
funny
I
at
sat there
all.
the whole time going, "Oh, what have they done?
Yeah.
This is like a direct to VHS old school Disney movie.
You don't even deserve a DVD.
National Lampoon's Toy Story 4 or whatever.
Y'all don't even deserve the Blu-ray or 4K.
Yeah.
You're going straight to VHS.
It's terrible. Never should have been made.
No, I agree. I remember that was the first Toy Story movie I was bored out of my mind watching. Like, I was like, okay,
shocked.
how many tropes can we throw into this 1 2-hour movie?
Because when they make a movie, they should be.
And I was reading a story about Paul Newman's acting. I think it was and the director would come up to him and say, "Hey, can you do it a little faster for me? Because it felt a little long on that take." And then Paul Newman would usually take it and he would go back and he would always ask the script supervisor after the second take. He's like, "How long was the second take?" And inevitably, the second take would actually be a little longer, even though the director praised it. And he says, "Well, that's exactly what I wanted. Perfect." The difference was that Paul Newman didn't have the right emotion or attitude or whatever. So when a scene is boring or when a movie is boring, it feels longer, or the take of that scene feels longer. Toy Story 4 felt like a 3-hour Lord of the Rings extended version. I could not, and it wasn't that long, I don't think. But
no, it was so.
It was
boring.
horrible.
But you're right on that. All right, so number 5 for you.
5 for me is.
I like the different interpretations here. Go
ahead. I think honestly, every sequel after this first one just should have never really happened, and it's Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that's a perfect movie. I have rewatched Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, multiple times. I've seen them all, I think, but I've instantly forgotten everything but the first one. The first one I practically have memorized.
First one is...
Everything else, I couldn't tell you the first thing about them. I remember that, the Bill Nye or whatever was the sea creature dude, but I don't know the plot. I don't know the characters. Anything beyond the first one.
You're right. Nothing is epic as
absolutely
that first one.
Nothing sticks in my memory because it was just a waste of time.
It started getting convoluted after the third one, I felt, and then they just kept going more schlock.
And they're still
it was
going.
fine. We watched them all.
They're going to make another one, or at least another one.
But you're right. The first movie, you got it right the first time.
But that second, Pirates of the Caribbean Part 2, that opening weekend was a big deal, dude.
Yeah.
Like, everybody pitched that, and I remember thinking, dang, that was not even close to what that first movie was. But, I mean, the first one was such a blow-up, smash success anyway. No one expected it to do well, and it was a terrific surprise. Kind of like when you were talking about last week or the week before on Saturday Morning Samoflangfe about how all the M. Night movies that you talked about and how we went to see Signs, and Signs we didn't expect to be anything. We just went because it was hot outside, and we were like, let's go to the movies.
Get an AC.
And it was terrific.
It was really terrific.
Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't think I wish they would have left it alone. I really do.
So, number 4, every movie they've come out with from this series has been great.
Every movie's been great.
I think. Well, it has some redeeming qualities. Let's just say that.
Except
the Predator, not Predator, but
the Predator.
Predator 2.
Predator 2's got some good
one of the earliest Samoflangfe episodes we ever did was best sequels.
Okay.
And the big
Predator 2 is a great movie.
We had a running gag for 25 episodes after this because CJ said Predator 2 was one of the best sequels ever made, and me and Mikey looked at him and went, "What?" And that became the running gag that Predator 2 was on his top 5 every day.
I love Predator 2.
But looking back at Predator 2, it's not bad. They tried something different, and they had to. You have to go somewhere different. Of course. You can't do this. I want to see the same movie again. Yeah. But you can't do that.
You can't just do it again. I recently rewatched Predator, and it's terrific.
Yeah, Predator's perfect. Yeah. But Predator 2, there's some good parts in there, and I do like where he enters the spaceship. And I do like how you see the alien
I like
skull.
that too.
It's great. Now, I'm not counting the Predator Aliens as sequels.
No.
Those are more
That's a
team-ups or spin-offs or something like that.
Crossovers.
I don't count those. I think those movies are garbage. But Predators, I like that movie.
When did The Predator come out?
The Predator came out after Predators. Predators came out where people woke up on what they thought was Earth, but then
that's
saw
right.
all the different moons.
They were in a different...
And realized they were on a different... And I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Cool.
That was cool. That was fun. The Predator takes place back on Earth. It came out in 20 whatever. And it was garbage. 2017, 20 whatever.
It's not even worth remembering the year.
Such garbage.
Wow.
And then they came out with the prequel called Prey. Have you seen Prey?
I have not seen Prey.
It is phenomenal.
Why?
It takes place in the past.
So?
It's a Predator. It's just good.
Okay.
It's just good. And it ties to the other movies in a brilliant...
Really?
I mean, and it's blink and you'll miss it. But I don't think you'll miss it if you know the Predator movies. Because you'll see there is a striking connection, and it's hilarious.
And it's just called Prey?
It's just called Prey.
Okay. I missed it, I guess.
Came out in 2020, 2021, something like that.
I missed it.
Yeah, it came out around... Yeah, excellent stuff. But the Predator, awful. Number 4.
Number 4, Men in Black.
2?
Yeah, anything past the first one. All of mine are anything past the first one. Like, the first one, brilliant. First Men in Black is a brilliant film. It's so much fun.
Tommy Lee Jones gets a happy
ending.
ending.
Lee Jones, and it's just so good. Like,
That's true.
I loved it. It was so much fun. It was just
perfect.
a good time. It didn't need a sequel, but they're going to make it. And honestly, it didn't need a sequel. I don't want to see more of it. I just want to let my imagination just let it carry on. And I know they're going to keep rebooting it. It's going to keep getting rebooted every time.
Man, the ending that he said, you got one more person. Gives him the pen.
I know. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's a great
moment. And he
moment.
gets the send-off. He's retired now. And he's like, go ahead.
And he's happy. He doesn't have any memories of what happened before. He's just loving his life.
Gets to live his life.
You're
It's the
right.
picture of him. And he finally went and found the girl that he was in love with.
On the beach.
Yeah.
Well,
and I
right.
adored that. And
you're
then
right.
anything beyond that,
you spoiled that ending.
Any expository extra is just completely unnecessary. And
that is so true. Now that I think about it, the sequel just spoiled the first
you get
movie.
the idea that Will Smith is going to have a team of people, and he's going to go off and be the next Tommy Lee Jones, and he's going to continue to save Earth from all the aliens and blah blah blah. Let my imagination do that. I don't need because if they're going to do it, it's just going to be bad CG, and it's not going to be as good of a story ever, and it's still not. Like they keep trying keep thinking they've got a good IP there that they can build on, but they don't. It was a good original story because we had never seen anything like that. It was kind of like, what if we took the X-Files and made them superstars? You know, like what if Mulder and Scully were actually rock stars? And then that was MIB. And, and that's the way I saw them because X-Files was the biggest thing of the 90s, right? Yeah. And then, or the biggest TV show of the 90s. And then I think Men in Black was 1998, 97, 98. And it was, what if we made Mulder and Scully into legends or something like that instead of just FBI
You did
agents.
not leave well enough alone.
Exactly. And that's what I think that all of my movies that I have on this list are that. The top 5 movies that should have left well enough alone is what it is.
That's almost like what it should be.
So.
Mine is another series of movies. B, schlocky horror, meaning comedy horror. The first one was popular, came out in theaters. The second one technically came out in one theater. I didn't know this until I read the book behind the scenes. Tremors. Fantastic movie.
Yes.
The sequel is even better.
Dang it. I'm changing my list right now. My number 3 is Tremors. Screw this list because I got to have Tremors on here now.
Hold on. The third one is so much fun.
Is it though?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It broke DVD sales. Back in the day. It
Tremors
was the
3?
highest selling DVD.
I know we've talked about that. You're
Because
a
2
big
was
Tremors
popular.
fan, yeah.
And 5 is great. 6, a little bit of a letdown, but there's good moments. And 7 is the end. That was the last one they came out with.
That was it.
And so they're all redeemable.
Did Michael Gross ever die?
Michael Gross did them all.
Did he ever die though? In the movie?
You have to watch the movie. Movies, plural.
No spoilers.
But the worst one out of that one was there was a sci-fi funded one, which was Tremors 4, and this is back when prequels were the thing, because George Lucas had come up with his prequels.
Yeah.
Tremors 4, the prequel.
Okay.
And the cheapest budget ever known to man, and they didn't hide it either. That was a cheap budget. and it's just really, really awful with no humor whatsoever. It lacks that schlocky humor that the other movies had. It was so bad, and I hate. And even when I was rewatching them, getting up for Tremors 7, I was like, oh yeah, get ready for it. I watched them all again, and when it got to 4, I was like, is there anything redeeming about this? Because I love all the, even 6, which Michael Gross is starting to show his age.
Sure.
I mean, he did these movies till he was like 78 or something.
Yeah. He's like Wolverine, and
so,
he's like, till you're 90.
And he's definitely slowing down in 6, and he is dead on 7. But they make jokes about it.
Yeah, they added into the script, and
it's
that's
fine.
Okay.
But in 6, they were still trying to make the immortal Michael Gross, and he's not anymore. And you could tell. And there was a cheap camera lens effect where they didn't have enough money to pay for go to a snow place, so they went to the desert and did the blue lens to make the sand look white as snow, which you could tell was just sand in a blue lens. But besides the cheap effects, there were some fun moments in it. And anyway, though, but 4 has no redeeming qualities.
Those actors must have been miserable trying to act cold in the desert.
In jackets and
jackets and everything, and filming in the desert. Oh, my word.
I can't imagine.
You know, sometimes I want to be an actor, and then I think about jobs like that. It's like, could I do it?
I don't know. But yeah, so Tremors 4, a black spot on the whole series as a whole.
So a part of the reason I changed my list as well is because I had just finished saying that I contradicted myself, is what I was saying. I looked at my next one on the list, and I was like, oh, well, I'm just totally lied, because the one I had on here fit with what you were doing with the list, because I had originally the next Karate Kid was where my...
That's number 3?
That was my number 3 originally.
That's my number 2?
No!
What crossover?
There's your crossover.
That is... go ahead, you talk.
No, that's it. The next Karate Kid, because Karate Kid 1, Karate Kid 2, Karate Kid 3, all wonderful films in their own way.
And I want to thank you, because you brought... I was so disappointed as a kid watching Karate Kid 2.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the... I'm stupid. I wanted the same thing over again.
Right.
And you made me appreciate it, love it even more. There were way more funny parts than I remember when I was watching it with you. I made you watch 3, and we laughed maybe for the wrong reasons. But now, after Cobra Kai, basically just enhanced that film. And I really, truly, even though with all its cheesiness, cocaine was big in the 80s. They solved it with one line.
It was so great. Cocaine was big in the 80s.
It's so good to see and now, and we haven't gone back to rewatch it. Maybe when Cobra Kai is over, we'll go back.
We might have to.
But the thing is, though, now...
Because we're still worried about the second season, the second half of the last season of Cobra Kai.
I bet you anything. If I was to go back now and watch Karate Kid 3, I'd be like, oh, yes, I remember this. And years later, this would happen. Now it means something.
Yeah.
Now you're playing for keeps
it's
now.
got poignance.
It's got poignance to it. It's like, oh, there's young Mike.
Yeah.
And that's a great line.
Young Mike Barnes.
This backyard looks different than last time I was here.
Yeah.
And it shows that beating up Daniel
good
for Karate
lines
Kid 3.
like that. Yeah, exactly.
I love it. But you're right. We both watched Next Karate Kid, trying to find anything.
We were desperate.
Mr. Miyagi's in it.
Yeah.
Yay!
It should have been terrific. It was not.
There's nothing redeemable about this movie. If there was a fun scene where Mr. Miyagi's training her and teaches her a little lesson, that would have been great.
There was no one-liners or anything he had. It was gone. I don't know what happened there. Don't know what happened. But yeah, so Next Karate Kid isn't a direct sequel, but that's the only one that's on my list that I was unhappy with.
Good job.
After the third one.
Well done.
Yeah.
Go to 4.
Number 2?
Oh, 2. Yeah, 2. Excuse me.
My number 2, and you're going to disagree with this one heartily, I think, because I think that you feel the same way about this movie that you do about Tremors, and I'm going to say it's Jaws.
Which one?
Jaws number 1 should have been the end of it. There's no reason to make Jaws 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12.
I agree with you.
Oh.
But I love that the actor, Robert Shaw, what was his name?
Roy Scheider?
The main actor?
Roy Scheider.
Roy Schneider? Yeah, Roy Schneider. I love that he was under contract to make another movie with Universal and had to make the sequel.
I remember that story. Yeah.
He was forced.
Yeah.
Because he had one more movie to make. That was back when movies with the studios, they owned you for 4 movies.
Right.
And Jaws 2 was not supposed to be in the books, but when Jaws made money, we smell money.
And not just some money.
Not only did he not want to be in Jaws 2, he didn't want to do a sequel. He didn't want to reprise. He thought like
It's
we
done.
all thought,
Brody's
it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. The story is done.
Yeah, and as an actor, you're thinking after that traumatic experience, there's no way he would ever be
But he was
involved.
forced, contractually obligated to do it. He did it, and he played through that whole movie as you can't tell he's pissed off. But the whole time, he hated filming. He hated doing the movie, but he did not. He
didn't let it sink into the camera?
He gave it an A+ performance.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I mean,
I haven't gone back because I've heard that story, but I haven't gone back and watched Jaws 2 since knowing that.
Watch Jaws 2 again. He
and
delivers
know that he hates
as Brody.
Wow.
He delivers as Brody, but the whole time he is pissed.
Class act.
And what exactly, and I appreciate it for that.
Interesting.
I think Jaws 3, it was the 3D cinema schlock. I think that's the worst one, even though a young, what is his name? He plays Reagan in a new movie. His son is in The Boys. Oh my goodness, he was in Frequency. Dennis Quaid, a young Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid is in Jaws 3D?
In Jaws 3D.
Wow.
But even he can't save that schlock. Because it's Jaws at SeaWorld. But Jaws 4.
Jaws 4.
Which gets as the I looked
Is
online.
that The Revenge?
That's The Revenge.
Yeah.
That's where the shark is screaming underneath the wall, roaring. I love that.
I know.
Now they do explain what the sharks. I didn't realize this, but they do explain what the shark's doing in warm tropical waters.
Okay.
He has been enchanted by a voodoo witch to kill the family.
Okay, good.
And of course, that's out of left field anyway. But
there's a lot of cocaine in the 80s.
Michael Caine is in that one. And Michael Caine goes, he doesn't remember a thing about the bloody film, all that it paid for his nice beach house.
Michael Caine, it paid for my nice beach house.
I just remember the beach house it paid for.
Wow.
But
charming. You and I have talked about Jaws 4 as well.
Jaws 4 is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Happens around Christmas. I never knew
Throw that on Die Hard, on the Die Hard argument list.
I love it. Okay, so speaking of Die Hard.
Your number 2.
My number 1. Number 2 was Next Karate Kid.
Oh, okay.
My number 1 is A Good Day to Die Hard.
No way.
I thought the Die Hard movies they're all
those are in your all-time
runs.
They're in your all-time 100s, I think. Yeah.
Well, the first one's classic.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, it's great.
The second one is fun. It is more of the same, but it's fun. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
The third one is
the second one is a perfect example of how to do more of the same and still make it good.
Still feel good. Yeah. The third one. Change of scenery.
It's a great time. I love Die Hard 3.
Samuel Jackson still in the
Love Die Hard 3.
Jeremy Irons is perfect.
Yeah.
It is a great. I mean, it basically just jumped over 2.
Yeah.
And said we can almost touch the first movie.
Absolutely.
We're almost there.
Part 3 is absolutely up there.
And I don't know when the last time you saw 4 was, but Timothy Olyphant does a great criminal. He's a great criminal. People say, well, now he's a superhero action star. They have all the big crashes and everything.
So what?
But they make jokes that, like my favorite line, you just killed you just blew up a helicopter with a police car. He ramps a police car up into the air, jumps out of the vehicle, slams it. He goes, yeah. But I mean, there's so many good stuff in this movie, but it's really funny, and the action keeps going, and it's just a fun.
I haven't seen it since it came out.
Stuff your face full of popcorn.
That's what I want. Yeah,
I enjoyed, and I was not. I was like, oh no, don't do anything. Die Hard with a Vengeance should have been it, but no, there's more. I love it. Then they did A Good Day to Die Hard. I was pumped.
Yeah, of course.
I was pumped. I still, after watching it now 2 more times on DVD, because when I watch my Die Hard, I end with this one. And I hate it. I loathe it. I don't want to hate it, but it's a terrible movie from start to finish.
Wow, worse than Next Karate Kid.
Only because, well, here's the thing. Yeah. I graded this by the greatness that came before.
Okay.
And the disappointment that came after.
I get you.
And if I could just destroy one film forever. That's the movie Now, Next Karate Kid got number 2.
Yeah.
If I could destroy a film, and
if I could destroy one film
Thanos
forever,
snap it out of existence.
If I could do that before Dial of Destiny, it would have been Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That's a good one.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull would have been the one that I evaporated Thanos style out of distance.
Dial of Destiny in a heartbeat.
But
all
now,
day.
Give me Dial of Destiny, and
all day.
I'll take Crystal Skull over that.
Crystal Skull, and I've said this before. Crystal Skull is a bad movie. Just because Dial of Destiny came out doesn't mean it's a good movie. It just means it's not the worst movie in the series now.
Unfortunately.
Now, there are a few scenes that I do enjoy. I like the
not even scenes, just moments.
well, the motorcycle fight scene in the town square.
Okay,
That was decent.
All right.
I like the nuke the fridge.
Yeah, I mean,
thought that was fun.
It's fun now.
I like at the beginning. Well, afterwards he's getting soaked down by people in radiation things, and they drop the mop to the mid-set. He picks it up like real quick. Like, what are you doing? And it's
That's the indie humor.
There's some indie humor that's there, and you know that because Spielberg did it.
Yes, that's lacking from Dial of Destiny.
So Spielberg tried what he could.
Right.
But the thing is, though, this one is lacking everything that Andy stood for.
Totally agree.
But
so yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's great. So my number one is Jurassic Park, because every Jurassic Park movie that's come out since that first one, again, completely forgot. There's no point.
Down.
I have no interest. I will never watch Jurassic Park 2, 3, 4, 5, Lost World, blah, 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 blah. I think I've seen them all. Again, same with Pirates of the Caribbean. If I have seen them all, I have already forgotten them. I've forgotten them before I got to my car from the movie theater. Like, I just said I have other things to remember in life. I need to remember, like, the position of the stars in 1603 more than I need to remember that movie.
The first one is classic.
It's one of the greatest films ever made.
And I will probably watch the first three again.
The first three?
Spielberg did the second one.
Yeah.
There are some good scenes in there.
I believe you, but
the third one is a combination of all the scenes that they couldn't put in the first two movies.
Yeah.
And if you've ever read the book,
pushed them all together.
It's all the stuff from the books.
And that's it. I've read the book.
Yeah.
And the first two books, at least, I've read about
There's only
that.
two books.
That's what I'm saying.
They
then.
asked him if he'd write a third one, and he said no.
So yes, I have read them.
They used all the scenes that were in the first two books
that they didn't
made
use.
a movie.
And I remember that. I remember thinking in Jurassic Park 3 that it's like, oh, there's Hammond dying the way that the
there's
original.
The pterodactyl nest they were in the first one.
Exactly.
It's a T-Rex that's chasing him the whole time in the river, not the new dinosaur in Jurassic Park 3. That's all T-Rex scenes that were in the first book.
And I think that's what we touched on earlier about, you said the heights that Die Hard had climbed to just let you down so much. And I think that's what Jurassic Park is, maybe a little bit with this. Not why it's my number one, is because it is a perfect film, and it's at the top. It's in the top 50, 25 of all time, all time list. And then so anything beyond that, I mean, it just feels so subpar and mediocre. And honestly, all the new stuff with what's his butt, Chris Pratt and such, like those, I just could not care less. I don't care anything about those characters.
The first one wasn't that good.
No.
But it got worse.
And then how did it get worse?
It got worse.
Yeah.
And I could not believe they could lower the bar even more.
Terrible. And I was never impressed with Jurassic Park 2 and 3 either. And I just don't get it. It wasn't my thing.
And they're still going to make those.
And that's a massively, because people keep buying those tickets for that dumb movie. And I don't know why, but I'm so done with Jurassic Park. But that first one, again, I probably got the first film memorized, to be honest with you.
It's beautiful.
Like, I've got all these, like, Pirates of the Caribbean, Men in Black, not as much, but Jaws I've watched 100 times, Jurassic Park I've watched 100 times. I mean, terrific films. And I think just get these sequels out of here. They don't need to be there.
Well, last week on the podcast,
I like this Thanos snap it out of existence. In a perfect universe for me, I would just snap all these.
Snap them
get out of here. Oh, the world is such a better place now.
And last week, Samoflangfe, which has not come out as of this recording, I actually put Jurassic Park as one of John Williams' best soundtracks.
Hey, okay, all right, good deal.
I think it's one of the most beautiful things he ever wrote.
I used to fall asleep listening to the Jurassic Park soundtrack on my headphones when I was in high school. Like I would literally fall asleep listening to the orchestral score of Jurassic Park.
It's beautiful.
It's the most amazing thing.
Beautiful.
It's terrific.
All right. Well, hey, there it is, folks. What were five movies you would Thanos snap out of the universe? There you go.
There's a great answer. Please tell us what you would Thanos snap out next Saturday.
Morning
Samoflangfe.